the question I had is a pretty deep conversation. I was actually going to bring this up last week, but I guess it kind of slipped my mind. And then I heard the Joe Budden podcast, and they were actually, debating about this, right?
Uh-oh.
So this is going back to last week's episode, with the whole Leon incident,
Mm-hmm.
where he shot the child and everything. So who was really at fault there? Because there's a theory going out that Leon wasn't actually in the wrong here, and that it was the driver of the other car that the girl was in. Because when he pulled up and saw Leon, the driver should have known, hey, I've got a woman and child in this car, so this
Yeah.
isn't the time to really do anything. So he should have just drove off, or just not acknowledged Leon, or well, he should have like tried to diffuse the situation somehow, instead of trying to kind of make a situation happen. So when he peeked into the other car and he was like, ain't that Leon? Like, the way he said it seemed like he was ready for action, and that's obviously what
Yeah.
that's obviously what made the Leon and his friends react, right?
Yeah.
So this is a pretty in-depth kind of, like, it's a pretty deep kind of conversation, like a back and forth conversation of who really is in the wrong, because Leon was really just reacting to what happened. And a lot of times with these gang shootouts and stuff, it's usually a split second situation that causes it to happen. So like
Mm-hmm.
Leon, in that split second, him and his friends were like, oh damn, like, this could be it. Like, we, if we don't react, then they could get the drop on us or something. So do you think that some of the blame should be on the people in the other car?
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is this, how the episode started last week is that they were the ones to go after Leon first. Now, Leon at that point was not involved in any of the stuff that was happening with Franklin, but they made him involved by trying to take him out. Why? When him and his boys went to go get something to eat, and instead they shot Wanda. So I understand when Leon would see them again, he would be thinking about retaliation.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to agree that the people that were in the car, though, they knew that there was a kid in the car. They knew that the girlfriend was also in the car. So the situation could have gotten diffused, but the way that it played out, it didn't. Because if you also recall, the guy who was driving around with the ices, the ice cream little machine, this guy was like right in the middle of the crosswalk. So that was why they stopped. Otherwise, they would have just kept driving.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he got shot as well. It's kind of like it's hard to really decipher. Like, obviously, if you're in a vehicle and you know that you have people in that car that are vulnerable, you should take every precaution to say, okay, I can't react this way. But I kind of feel like when Leon saw them, he was going to have that reaction even before they started shooting, because they already went after him and his boys. So I kind of feel like they were going to react like immediately as soon as they saw these guys. It was unavoidable. But yeah, the whole thing about Leon getting out the car afterwards and continuing to shoot at these guys. I mean, I thought they were already dead. But from the shot that we saw when people were getting shot, I thought they were already dead. But he wanted to make sure that they were dead. So, yeah, probably a little excessive, but you can't really blame them, because again, they was there spying, but it's just the way everything played out. It played out too much, where somebody was definitely going to go down.
Yeah.
So it's hard to. My take, my opinion, personal, is if I know that I have someone in the vehicle that is vulnerable and somebody is after me, vice versa, I'm probably going to not put them in that situation, and just ride around. But I know that they wasn't in an area that Leon had been in before, so they obviously didn't think that he would be there and that they would be ready to take him out right then and there. But it's still, it's kind of like with all the stuff that's going on, if you go after somebody, you have to think, well, they can probably try to come after me as well at some point, no matter where I'm at. So they probably should have, in the other car, they probably should have said, hold on, we have a child and a kid here. let's handle this another way, or get them out the car and y'all go somewhere, and then y'all handle y'all shoot it out or whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, they probably should have said something to alert them and say, listen, we have a woman and a child in this car, and then that probably would have stopped certain things from happening. But I kind of feel like either way it was going to happen because the emotions was high at that point, and they just was thinking about retaliation on both sides.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, maybe, the driver, like, instead of saying, is that Leon, he should have been like, we got kids in here, yo. And like, that would have
Yep.
gave an indication that, we can't really, do this right now. And I'm
But
sure, the people in the other car would have understood because
but
like you mentioned before, Leon said, we don't harm women and children. So what was you
exactly.
gonna say?
But here's a question now, and
Mm-hmm.
this is probably taking it a little bit deeper because I don't know if they spoke about this on the Joe Joe Budden show.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that the viewers would have been angry if they saw that? Because they wanted, I'm pretty sure people wanted to see some type of retaliation on both sides. More so with Leon because they tried to take out Leon and they shot Wanda. So I think as a viewer, I would question, would people have been disappointed if, say, the brother is about to take out a gun and the driver tells him, like, wait a second, we got these two in the car. We shouldn't do anything. And then say, okay, yeah, you're right. And then just drive off. Do you
Oh
think the
yeah.
viewer would have been angry?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that would have been a boring scene. Like we wouldn't like that. Like we'd be like, well, what was the point in this scene? There was no action,
Yeah.
But I guess it's just one of those things where it's like you're having a discussion about the logic of the situation, but of course the way it panned out led to some very very entertaining drama happening. So of course
Yeah.
I in terms of the story I wouldn't have changed anything because that made things very intense, but yeah, like in terms of like when you try to analyze the actual situation and the behavior, that's where there's a need to kind of like debate on what was right, what was wrong, kind of thing. But yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, people wouldn't have liked that scene if it happened like you just said. So
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah. They wanted to see something because again, from the very beginning of the episode, if you're a Leon fan, you're fearing for his life. So you definitely want him to try to get some revenge. It's just that when he got the revenge, it was not what you anticipated with someone else being in that car getting shot. So it makes you think. Really, really makes you think about how that was handled. But I'm curious to hear what others think if they do leave their comments. If they think that the driver if they think that they also should accept some of that blame, or if it's all on Leon, or is Leon not at fault at all?
yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the driver's dead, so the only person to blame is Leon. So, but yeah, and of course, the mother of the child, she's not letting up either. Like she wants blood too. So, at
Yep.
this point, there's it's a tough time for Leon. Like nobody wants to show him any mercy. So, that's just what it is.